Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. December is the busiest time for most musicians. I figured I'd make a video kind of summarizing all of the different things that I have to do in just a week to prepare for my performances or anything else that I'm doing for this month. During this video I'll also give you some tips and things to be mindful of in preparation for this entire month. So this is 1 week in the life of a professional musician. Teaching is a big part of music. Whether you're teaching private lessons, you're teaching at a school, or anything else, you're probably going to have to teach. So I teach at a school from 8 to about 5 p.m. every weekday. And we do regular things like prepare for concerts, teach basic music theory, all those things, as well as doing after school or private lessons as well. So my Monday after school consisted of going to a jazz band rehearsal. Since I'm the assistant artistic director of the Tampa Bay Symphonic Winds and the jazz director for the Tampa Bay Pride Jazz Band, we have a concert on Saturday. So Monday was the very last rehearsal before we had a concert. So on Monday, Murphy's Law of everything that can go wrong will go wrong came into effect. My bass player and my piano player both told me, hey, I know the concert's on Saturday, but we will not be able to be there. We have a prior engagement. So for the next couple of minutes, basically 10-15 minutes of the rehearsal was just us trying to scramble and trying to figure out who was going to cover the part or how were we going to adjust the music based on the parts that we had missing.
I was saying the beginning again?
Yeah, from the beginning.
So here's a suggestion. Maybe
Cut.
cut the first 4 minutes. Well, I guess 5 minutes technically. Otherwise, you're just going to hear the bass.
Yeah. But thankfully, some of the musicians that were already part of the jazz band, specifically a 4th trumpet player, stepped up and said, I can play piano, let me play some chords. Our guitar player said, you know what, we don't necessarily need the guitar part, I can play the bass part. And it eventually came together, but it was really stressful there for a moment. As a director, we always have to kind of prepare for, hey, what can we put together at the last minute because something's going to go wrong and somebody's not going to show up or anything. But thankfully, I've had years of experience trying to make it all work. I am also a band conductor, so what that meant is that I got to conduct some of the pieces that we were playing for a winter concert. But make sure you measure 6 and you circle that beat 5 silence from across the band. Thank you percussion for doing that segue into those phrases like I mentioned 12. The forte piano, please. You're doing great with forte, bump, but you need to back away, don't push the note. until you get to that piano, and then grow. From the beginning. Something like something like something like. We're getting in the groove. I'd rather this be a little bit slower than dirty and not clear. Ready? 1, 2. The last or the dress rehearsal is it's an interesting rehearsal because you can't always fix everything. The people, students, professional musicians, or the ensemble members will have already established certain habits or will be used to certain things. So trying to change something in the very last minute is probably not going to work. So I had to come in with that mentality of, okay, this is the dress rehearsal. I have to remind people of things that they have to do. I can't teach new things or I can't change everything on the very last concert before or last rehearsal before the concert. So we went through our pieces. I reminded the people of things that needed to be changed and what's prepared on Monday will hopefully happen on the concert on Saturday. Tuesday. Now, this day started just like any other, 8 to 5, teaching all the chaos that comes with dealing with middle school students. I love it, and that's why I do it every day. Now, for this day, I didn't have any rehearsals or practices or anything like that, so I took advantage of this free time to prepare laundry. Now, you're probably thinking, why is laundry an important part of a musician's life? And here's why. There's nothing worse than the day of the concert coming and you realizing, oh, the clothes that I'm supposed to be wearing in an hour or in a couple minutes, they're not clean. And that has happened to me a couple times. A lot of things have happened to me with clothes the days of the concert, but those stories will come later, hopefully. Always think ahead, plan ahead, and make sure everything's prepared before you have to have it ready. Wednesday, more chaos at school, 8 to 5. Yeah, yay. After school, I had an orchestra rehearsal. Now, I am part of a couple of orchestras where we prepare a couple of different things. December is probably one of the best times for orchestra music because we play the Nutcracker Suite, we play a lot of different staples that I've been accustomed to playing almost every year. Another thing that comes into play when it comes to being a professional musician is driving. Most of the time where you get hired for a job, it won't be 10 minutes out the door. It'll be an hour out, 30 minutes, at least 45 minutes. Just if you want to be a professional musician that does this for a living, you're pretty much going to have to drive to the jobs that are available. You can't limit yourself to just whatever's local. This was a 45-minute drive. And the only reason why I know it was 45 minutes is not because I've done the drive before, but because I looked at the GPS ahead of time. So not only should you prepare to drive a long time, but you should prepare your time so that you can get to where you're supposed to be early. I had already accounted for this, but there's certain instruments that need to be put together and that takes some time. There is maybe, and this happened for this rehearsal, maybe your chairs and your stands are not set up, so you had to set it up for yourself. Maybe you forgot something, or you want to stop by somewhere and get a quick bite to eat or something to drink so that you have that for rehearsal. So you have to take into account how long it's going to take to get there. In my case, it was 45 minutes, and I gave myself an extra 30 minutes for anything, traffic or anything, to come into play and not get in the way. And despite the fact that you plan and you have everything prepared, there are things that are going to happen in rehearsal that you never even expected. So for me, on Wednesday, it was that I was the only clarinet player to show up for that rehearsal. So I had to scramble and try to figure out how to play other people's parts. It's not like they were asking me to do it, but I just wanted to make sure that we heard the parts and had everything prepared so the people in the orchestra who was preparing and were used to hearing certain instruments playing were able to have that for them as well. So that was fun. That was tricky. I think I did the best that I could, but we can't always win. Thursday, teaching, 8 to 5. Yay. After school, I had a youth band rehearsal. The Tampa Bay Symphonic Winds and the Tampa Bay Pride Band are also working to create a youth band in Tampa, the Alliance Youth Band of Tampa Bay. So besides rehearsing and putting together the music that they were playing, we were going to have a joint performance where we were going to have the students come to the stage and play with us, the adult band as well. And as a teacher, you had to be so clear about how, what, when, why, what you're wearing, how often you do it, things you should not do, that we spent a good majority of the rehearsal just talking about procedures. And we went up to the venue. Thankfully, we rehearsed when we perform. So we went up to the place and said, here's where you're going to be sitting during the concert while the adults are playing. Here's how you come onto the stage. Here's how you get off the stage. And here you will stand and you will get recognized. So that took a little bit of rehearsal time, but it's necessary for a successful concert, in my opinion. Friday, 8 to 5, teaching. Okay. Another thing that I had to prepare for this week is what's going to happen next week. So not only are you surviving through the week, but you had to prepare ahead of time so that you know that you're ready. So this day I took the chance to go get gas. I mentioned that driving was a huge portion of being a professional musician. So in order for that to happen, you need gas. So I had to go and make sure that my tank was full so that I didn't have anything to worry about, because the worst thing is for you to get in your car, instruments loaded up, and then you look at your tank and you're empty and you have to be there in like 10 minutes. The worst thing in the world. I got gas, spent time with family, which is also important, especially during the holiday season, and prepare for the next performance. Saturday is the day of the concert. Things are great. Be there early, have your clothes that you're already prepared, have your full tank of gas. Get there as soon as you can, earlier than you are required to be there. Murphy's Law strikes again. Saxophone player shows up. I don't know why they didn't disclose it to anybody. I don't know what happened. I actually did not get the full story about this, but their saxophone got stolen. So they're physically there, just can't perform the concert. Okay, I'm sorry. Bass clarinet player, car troubles on the way there. They'll get there if they can. But overall, successful day. Great concert. Everybody had fun. Kids were there. Kids were prepared. Jazz band did really well. We did the best that we could without a bass player and a piano player, because we had people step up in the band and play with us, and we prepare for the worst and expect the best. Most of the time the people in our groups will come through and make it happen. So thankfully the concert was a success. This week is kind of an outlier. Not every week is like this. Not every week has every single day basically planned out for something to happen, but in December, one of the busiest time of year for musicians, things like this happen all the time. So hopefully you enjoyed this week, and hopefully I get to do this more often, and hopefully things are a little less crazy next week. So thank you for watching.